Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Aydan, guitarist for Elvenking, also founding member of
Exactly.
Elvenking.
Hello,
Back
everyone.
1997, correct?
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Was 1997. So basically, a lot of years ago,
Yeah.
a lot of time passed, but we are still here, alive and kicking, hopefully.
Well, let's start there. You started as just a bunch of friends together in a small village over there in Italy. The Italian music scene was certainly not a great one in
Not at
particular,
all.
you guys
Exactly.
have fought an uphill battle.
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely. If I recall the heavy metal scene in Italy back in 1997. Or even before. Obviously, we were just a bunch of kids, and we were, starting to think about, getting a band, maybe around 1995, or around that period, and for sure the Italian metal scene was, I would say, not a big one, but there was no scene at all. There were kind bunch of bands that were maybe doing some live shows only in Italy, and there were no bands that were allowed to play Europe or something like that. So we were following a dream, and things started to get moved probably exactly around 1997 when we were formed. There were Labyrinth coming out with Return to Heaven Denied, and then there were Rhapsody, who
Right.
were, a band that coming from a region, and they were, signing the first contract with Metal Blade or Limb at the time, and it was kind of, for us it was like, oh God, so there is the possibility also for some Italian bands to sign a record deal with an international label, and maybe uh, you know get out of the borders of Italy. So there was a kind of a hope for us, and we were looking at that at those bands as an example to follow. And so it was it was pretty tough in the beginning, and we didn't have any idea of or any will to doing anything but playing some live shows, and especially record our one album with our name and with our music. That was the only goal at the beginning. uh, from there.
Sometimes, do you
Yeah.
find that sometimes not knowing though actually helped a little bit? Sometimes if you know everything you're going to go through, you wonder whether you want to or not, whereas you're going into just passion and blind faith.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the only thing that we had, passion, and as you said, blind faith. It was just passion for metal music. We were trying to also get some unique sound, or something like that. I don't want to say original, because in music probably there is nothing really original, but at least we were trying to have our own sound, mix our influences and stuff like that, and try to have something ours, some of our sound.
Yeah.
uh,
Now you've been with AFM Records the entire time, correct?
Correct.
W-
It is 22 years, no,
Yeah.
23 years now, because we recorded our one and only demo in back in 2000, and in 1999, at the very end of 1999, we sent out the demo, and we started immediately to receive phone calls from international labels. So something good was done.
Yeah.
AFM was at the time not so big, was a small company, but had a couple of bands that were interesting to us, like Guy, for example.
Right.
And we chose to be in a smaller label instead of a bigger one, and maybe just a number of that one. And the relationship is 23 years and running right now, so everything went very, very good for us.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about this new album coming out April 1st, I believe.
April
Reader
28th. Yeah.
28. Okay, 28.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the L in my April. I thought it was a
Yeah.
1. April
Yeah.
28th.
Yeah. Exactly.
April 28th. Let's get that right on AFM Records. Readers of the Runes Rapture. This is part 2 of a trilogy.
Exactly.
Uh, Sequel to
Yeah.
2019's Reader of the Runes Divination, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah. We always wanted to have a to work on a concept album. We grew up with big concept albums, like King Diamond. We are big fans of King Diamonds, and a lot of other great concept album. I don't know. I'm talking about Operation Mind Prime, or
Yeah.
Crimson Idol by Wasp, or Streets by Sabotage, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So we always wanted to do a concept album as the big bands we always listen to did in a certain period of their career, as a high peak of their stuff. So we always search for something interesting to put on a concept album. We needed a good story or something to build around some songs, and we finally had this glimpse of idea. And the idea was so big, big in terms of length, and uh, things to be narrated and so on, that immediately from day one it was basically clear that it was impossible to do it in one album.
Mm.
So we just went with the flow, and put down the story, and it was clear we needed at least 3 albums to develop the story. So we said, why not? We can do 3 albums connected to the story, like one big album divided in 3 chapters. and
Right.
so and so we did the first chapter, as you said, in 2019. Then there was supposed to be a second chapter much earlier. Then pandemic stuff
Right.
started, and everything was stopped, and for some years. And now especially during the pandemic, we had all the plans went uh, went completely abroad. and
Yeah.
and yeah, and we had so much free time that we basically use all the time to write songs, and we ended up with having chapter 2 and chapter 3 of the trilogy written together. So
That's what I read. Part 3 is
yeah,
actually ready and going to be
yeah,
released next year.
exactly, exactly. So the pandemic was the perfect time to go down, sit down, and write as many songs as possible. Then we had a luxury to choose the songs which were fitting better chapter 2 or chapter 3, depending on the story, because the chapter 2 is much more, let's say, violent, with it full of blood,
Mm.
and something like that. So we put the more epic, and a little bit darker and more obscure songs there, and we use instead the more romantic, or I would say something like that, stuff for the chapter 3. And since we had all the songs ready, we also recorded the two albums together, at least part of them.
Sure.
Drums were recorded for both albums, and this also was a big plus, in order, economically speaking, because recording especially drums, is maybe the biggest things to do. And we did everything together, and now we need to finish something about on chapter 3. But there is already a release date, which is next year, 2024, in August. So everything is set and
Wow.
great.
With the pandemic and everything, were you guys able to be together doing any of the writing or recording, or was everybody doing their own thing at their own place and then you pieced it all together?
It was kind of weird situation because especially in Italy there was a period of time when everything was completely stuck. You couldn't go out of the border of you couldn't go out from home in a period. There was no possibility to travel from one city to another.
Mm,
So we tried for a period of time to work by Zoom or something like that, especially me and Dam now, who are the responsible for the music,
mm,
songwriting, but was not really working. It was not so easy. So we started to work a little bit, independently, and then as soon as the restriction went a little bit less less heavy, we regrouped and put all the ideas together, and we had tons of idea to work on, and we started from there, and and rework all the songs and put things together. Part of the songs that were partially written by one of us, then we completed together and so on.
nice. Let's talk about a few of the songs. I got a download of it, so I got to listen to the album. A
Yep.
fantastic album.
Thank you
And
very much. Thanks a lot.
yes, brilliant. Let's talk about Rapture. What really jumped out at me is the song is amazing, but the video is even more. What imagery, what journey, what everything in there. That must have. I'm looking at the costumes and the places and everything. That must have taken a while to shoot, didn't it?
Yeah. Yes. First of all, Rapture is for us it is the opening track of the album, and we are used to, or usually we always started an album with kind of fast song, really double bass, with a lot of double bass and stuff like that to start the album with a punch. But this time around we thought about something different, and to get into the mood of this more dark and more obscure album, we wanted to start with something more mid-tempo, that could introduce better the atmospheres of the album. So that was Rapture basically. The
Yeah.
video, yeah, we did the video also for the song, even if it's the longest song of the record. So this is another weird things for us, to do an album as a single and a video for such a long song. Usually
Mm,
you go with a 3 minute song, very commercial, something like that. But we wanted, since it was 4 years since the last album, we wanted to come out with something a little bit more shocking or something like that.
sure.
So we went with this idea, and also the video. Wanted to follow the atmosphere and the mood of the music. So we use this dark wood imaginary with our typical costumes and makeups, to make it everything as dark as possible, and something that could really can introduce the listener to what the album is gonna be,
Cool.
the general atmosphere of the album.
Yeah. Let's jump down to Bride of Night. I found this to be really catchy yet ambitious. You got a guest vocalist on here whose name I'm going to let you pronounce because I know I'm not going to get it right. Um,
Yeah.
tell us about how that came.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Bright of Night, it is the kind, instead of more typical single, a little bit more catchy and more melodic. So we use it as a second single after Rapture, and I think that is a very good songs to be presented as a single, because maybe it can be a little bit more accessible, and it has all the right things to go in a wider, probably wider audience, and so on. So we also have the a guest vocalist, which is Ike from ex former Draconian singer, and she did a. Maybe she's not so present, I read some, some comments of her fans saying, "Oh, we didn't hear her voice. She needed to be more, more used or something like that." But we just wanted to have a kind of angelic voices that was a backup for Damna's main vocals in the chorus, and I think that the effects that she with her voice she does in the choruses was exactly what we were looking for. So we didn't want just a name to say, okay, we are featuring this singer to make more views or anything like that. We just wanted to create the atmosphere we wanted to have in the chorus part of the song, and I think it worked out
Yeah,
nicely.
yeah, very nice.
Mm.
Track four, Her Chant. I love the intro on this, especially the drumming. I was listening through headphones. I thought the drumming was amazing in this, and the vocal melody was great. There are a lot of different movements. To me, this song sounded almost like Irish, Celtic, to
Yeah,
my ear. Is that what you were going for in that?
absolutely, absolutely. Especially Erchant is one of the most probably folk-oriented song of the album,
Yeah.
and especially for the song, we use also other guest musicians that are playing real bagpipes and real hurdy-gurdy,
Mm,
which are typical, Celtic kind of instruments, because we wanted to have real instruments to get. All that typical folklorish sounds that
yeah,
can bring you directly to the Scottish land or the Irish lands or something like that. And
yeah,
that was the idea around Earthchant. Even if there are some very heavy part in the song, the very drumming. Drumming in the intro, as you said, is really drum driven. But it is, I think that it is interesting because there is this mixture of very heavy parts with this uh, strong folkish atmosphere with this real instrument that really gives that special mood that we want to recreate in the song.
yeah. Great. Yeah, it was really cool. And that's what I like is you guys bring so many different elements to the music. Like the next track I was going to was Covenant. I
Yeah.
love how you use the strings in the middle section here.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to hear on an Elvenking song, but you guys make it all work brilliantly.
Thank you very much for your words. I think that Covenant is another song, a very that it is the most I think harmonically difficult song to be done in the album, because it has really strange Arabic kind of feelings with strange chords and strange scales and stuff like that, that gives that special let's say Middle East or
Mm,
something like that. And it was also in this case was strongly related to the story
yeah,
and to the lyrics, because they are talking about this abbot that is doing some kind of ritual, forbidden kind of esoteric rituals, trying to get dark forces out of forbidden ritual he's doing down in the in the monastery and stuff like that. So we wanted to recreate this kind of esoteric, a little bit of Arabic feelings connected to this ritual. So there are these very strange chords in the beginning, and then there is the orchestral central part, which I think gives exactly the idea that we wanted to represent musically about the lyrics.
Yeah. Great track. Next one I want to talk about was probably my favorite track on the album is Incantations. I like the way it starts out kind of like folk, then you go up to metal on the intro. I thought it was amazing and so complex, a lot of complexity to this song. I love
Yeah.
the whole way it was structured.
Thank you also for this. Oh yes, this is another, would say, typical Elvenking song, because you get a little bit of everything. You have the folk intro. Also here we have real instruments. In this case, is the thin whistle, which is done by an Irish guy we know, and he's very good in playing the thin whistle, which gives that, and once again, that special Irish feelings. Then
Yeah.
it goes very heavy and groovy, and then it returns acoustic with a kind of magical central part, and then there are a lot of things happening in the song, and also this will really help us to create the atmosphere, to follow the story, and to bring the listeners to the different waves of the feelings, and create different moods and atmosphere, like we wanted to bring by hand him through the story that we are telling.
I mean, it's great music and it's great cinema for your mind to listen to this music and hear the lyrics. I wish I would have had a lyric sheet. I'm anxious to get a physical copy of the CD, so I could read the lyrics along with it. But
Yeah, thank you.
final
That's
track,
what.
the Repent. Excuse me.
No, I just wanted to say that we always try to think about music and lyrics as a very, as a unity.
Sure.
We are not only taking care about the music, but also lyrics are always very important for us, and we would like, we are kind of old fashioned, old school guys. We have grown when we were kids with the booklets of the
Mhm.
of the albums, and I remember I was sitting there for hours trying to listen from my favorite albums, from the first songs to the last songs, reading all the lyrics and try to get into that. And that's the way I grew up. So I would like, I know that nowadays is completely different.
Yeah.
People just listen one song, then they skip to another one, or
Right.
and so on and so on. So probably the idea to follow an album from the first songs to the last song probably is completely lost
Uh,
because of Spotify and stuff like that. But maybe I'd like to think that there are still some kid who will sit there with the lyrics and follow the music together with the words, and trying to get into this imaginary world, and maybe they can get
exactly.
out. Yeah,
I mean, that's the way I grew up. You sat
yeah,
in front of the stereo with a set of headphones on, and you put the album on, and you sat there with the lyric sheet, and you read
ex-
everything.
exactly.
Um,
That was the
yeah,
way we were used, and was fantastic in my
e-
opinion.
exactly.
Unfortunately, it seems like times have changed drastically.
Yeah. Gonna go drop down to the Repentant. Final
Yep.
track on the album. I'm gonna come out of left field on you on this. As I was listening to that intro, I won't say it sounded like it, but it reminded me of the intro to Black Diamond by Kiss. You know, you you you
Okay, cool.
you
Yeah.
got a sense, that there was there was a build there, but it was so cool. You had a little bit of a breather after an Autumn Reverie, that's a heavy track.
Yep.
And then you've got this little bit of a breather, and it just reminded me of the way the album flowed, the way Black Diamond was on that first Kiss album.
Well, yeah, it was great. I never thought about it, to be sincere, but we are big Kiss fans from since we were kids. Obviously, uh, we started listening to Kiss with the '80s album, because we grew up probably in the end of the '80s and first '90s. But then
Yeah.
we obviously go back to the 70s album, and so on. So this is great to hear. You know, I never thought about this, but now that you tell me, probably you're right about it. So
Snuck in there
it's
a little bit. I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was great. It was a great. I loved it. I loved it. You know.
great.
Um, so going forward now, part two is coming out April 28th on AFM Records. This is Reader of the Runes Rapture. Part three is set to come out in August of 2024. So with, this album coming out, your next album done, what's your mindset right now with things? Do we have tours coming up, some festival dates? Are you going to start working on the next album after this trilogy, or where do you go from here?
That's interesting interesting question, because it's kind of tricky also for us, because usually we have an album that we go maybe on tour for a period, then we start working on the next one. So this is a little bit different for us, because we have an album basically almost down there, and we are still working on the live shows for the first album that we have ready. So it is a kind of difficult, and I really don't know what's gonna be our next step. For sure, for the moment, we will try to tour as much as possible for this album. But as we know, the other album will come pretty early, so we don't have big space to present it live. So we already did some live shows. We have been to the US at the 70K Tons of Metal
Right.
in January, which is the big metal cruise, which was fantastic experience. And now we have some festivals already set, and then there are talks for touring in autumn. We have also a US tour that is in the talks right now. I can tell you, because things are there are negotiating and stuff like that, so we will see what happens. I really don't know if we are gonna do straight away started to songwriting for another album. For sure we have some special idea to rework, for example, an album that is the second album, which is called Weird. It was released 2003. It's the only album that we did without Damna back in the day. So
Right.
there is a plan to work around that album, and maybe can be something, instead of working on a new album, we can work on something old, and just to recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Makes
and
sense to
then
me.
yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah. We've been chatting with Aydan, lead guitarist and founding member of Elvenking here. New album, Reader of the Runes Rapture, coming out April 28th on AFM Records. Aydan, I always like to finish up with just some silly questions. I'm hoping these are questions you've never been asked before. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
You obviously, with this album coming out, are doing lots of interviews. Is there someone that you would like to say either interview or have a conversation with? A musician, a famous person, a celebrity. Who would you like to interview if you had the chance?
If I need to interview someone,
Yeah.
or if
Yeah. Someone
oh
you would get to ask questions to and pick their brains and ask them about stuff.
that there are a lot of musicians I would like to ask questions to. If I need to name someone, probably I don't know. I would like to interview King Diamond, for example, which is
Okay.
always been a big fan of him, and I would have a lot of questions to ask him.
That'd be a
Yeah,
great interview.
yep.
um if what type of food do you find better as a leftover than you do freshly cooked?
As a leftover,
Yeah.
that's
Like you
that's
eat it the next day.
well, there are a lot of good things that you can eat the next day in Italy. For example, one is the how do you say, the baked pasta that you do, or some lasagna.
Lasagna, yes.
Yeah, exactly. that is usually it's very good on the first day, but it's even better the day after. So yeah.
What is what is the last piece of music you listened to other than your own?
The last one that I listened to,
Yeah.
uh, I was listening to the band Satan just right now, which is
Okay.
80s new wave of British heavy metal bands
Yeah.
from back
E-
from the 80s.
Excellent. Favorite toy growing up as a child?
Oh, a lot. I love to play with toys, and for sure, I would say Masters of the Universe. It was
Oh,
one of my favorite toys, and also
nice.
Transformers. I would say.
Excellent. We'll stick with your youth for one more. Give us an item that decorated your teenage bedroom.
I didn't decorate my teenage bedroom. I only put a lot of posters. I remember.
Yeah.
uh,
Who'd you have posters of?
yeah, when I was a kid, and my mom was not very happy about it because I had this Manowar, big posters with naked women and stuff like that, and some black metal bands as well with the face painting and stuff like that. So my my mom was not very very happy about my room when I was a teenager.
Oh, what is your favorite city that you've ever been to?
Tokyo, I would
Tokyo?
say. Yeah,
Oh, very cool.
yeah, for sure. It is something really different from the other cities of the world, and the people there is really really also different in a weird way, but also in a positive way, I would say. So it was definitely my favorite city to visit and
Okay.
to play in. Yeah.
Whether you're touring or just traveling, do you travel heavy or light? Do you carry a lot of things with you, or you just bring one bag?
When we are touring, or when we are.
Just like say you're just going on a trip with like, friends or family or whoever.
No, I'd like to travel light, but I would like to travel light, but then I know that I need a lot of things, and when I travel, I want to have my things, to feel comfortable, and be sure to have the right things with me. I would like to have my books because I read a lot,
Mm.
and then I would like to travel light, and that's the plan when I started to make to work on the luggages when I go in vacation, and then I've ended up with a lot of things and heavy stuff to bring with me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Last one, and this is the one we have fun with. If they were to
Yeah.
make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to portray you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Anybody?
Yep.
That's a tough one. I am a big big cinema movie freak. So
Yeah.
I love movies. So if I would need to choose somebody, I would go with Ryan Gosling.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, I said you can pick anybody.
Yeah,
Aiden,
yeah.
is there anything that I didn't ask you? Anything you didn't get to talk about in this interview to finish us up? The floor is yours.
Well, I just hope that we already said before, but I'd really love if somebody is gonna, I don't want to say buy the album, but maybe have the chance to listen to Read of the Runes Rapture, our new album. That maybe uh, it would be great to do it the old way, just sitting down with the headphones, lyrics. Maybe even if you don't have your CD, there are on the internet and so on, and try to follow the music with the lyrics, and try to start from the first songs and end with the last one, like a journey, as I I and the people that grew up
Yeah.
in the 80s and 90s were used to do, because I really have the impression that this thing is completely lost. And this is it, it is really a pity, because music is really a magical journey that can bring with you away from reality for 1 hour, half an hour, whatever it is. And you can really enjoy your time in a different dimension, and be aware of the real world with the problems that you have. And maybe you can uh, you know uh, fantasize, and you're living, traveling with your fantasy in a different world for an hour, listening to our music, but every kind of music, every kind of albums. And so do it like like that if you can.
I agree 100%.
Thank you.
Headphones on, a world off, lyric sheet up,
Exactly.
and watch the pictures that go by in your head.
Exactly,
Easy
exactly.
stuff.
That should be the way. And it would be great to have it back. I still do it every day, so it's
Absolutely.
my medicine. And I cannot do, I cannot think of my life without
I agree.
this.
I agree 100%. The band is Elvenking. The album is Reader of the Runes Rapture, coming out April 28th on AFM Records. We've been chatting with founding member and guitarist Aydan here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Aydan, I wish you much success with this album. May all
Thank
your
you so much.
travels be safe and all your shows be sold out.
Thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure. Was a pleasure talking to you, and thanks
Enjoy
again.
the rest of your evening. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.